Oh, it's the morning time on the Cooper Creek. Zebra finch. Pretty little critters, aren't they? There's the flood level in 2010. That's pretty high, eh? This is the information shed at the dig tree where Burke and Wills camped for the night on their way up to the Gulf from Melbourne in 1860. So a metre up that wall, that's where the flood level was in 2010. You can see by the lay of the land here, down there's Cooper Creek, how much water would it take to fill that up? Story has it that Burke and Wills made it up to the Gulf from Melbourne, then came back here, and their party, other part of their party here, had left about 9 hours before they got here, and left a parcel of food underneath a tree, buried underneath a tree, and they'd carved the word dig in the side of the tree, and they dug it up and found some stores there, kept them going for a bit longer. They were pretty buggered by the time they got back here from the Gulf. They never did make it back to Melbourne. They both died, Burke and Wills. One of the fellas of the party survived. The other one died on the journey back from the Gulf. We're leaving the dig tree site and heading off to Innamincka. Little dragonfly sitting on that rock there, shining in the sunlight. Cooper Creek. To the east of the dig tree. It's quite wide here. A lot of bird life. Nestled between a couple of sand dunes. Well, sand dunes, a lot of rocks on them. This Cooper Creek runs through the Channel country. Eventually down towards Lake Eyre. There's Melaleuca here. Paper bark are enormous. Well, look at the swallows floating around here. There must be a hell of a lot of nests under this bridge. Well, we're back in South Australia. Here we are at the border. We're heading out Innamincka, then down Dillon's Highway, Streslecki Track, and down here to the Flinders Ranges. Fairy martin nests. Nest all over the place and things. going to go down and have a look at Burke Grove. Here we are on the Cooper Creek again. Look at the size of the trunk on that tree. It's a ripper. Very enticing berries on that tree. So these enormous trees are red river gums. And they can live for 1,000 years or so. Look at the size of them. Heading up here, this track, which is supposedly where Burke, the leader of the party, the ill-fated party from Melbourne to the Gulf, is buried up here somewhere, apparently. Lingam bushes, great for birds' nests. Aboriginal people, I'm told, used to make nets out of them. Cooper Creek. Being flood and drought tolerant, these cooler bars are just made for this part of the country. Red river gum in the middle. These trees here are Queensland bean trees. These bean trees are slow growing and long lived. The seed pods containing big edible flat beans. The beans, when boiled, taste similar to chestnuts. After the rain, the beans produce a sweet edible gum. On the 29th of June 1861, King settled Burke under the shady coolabah tree. That's Burke from Burke and Will's fame. And shot a crow for supper. Burke owed a little, but he knew he was dying. He wrote a last letter to his sister and handed Kiggy's notebook and pocket watch. He whispered, "I hope you will remain with me until I am quite dead. It is a comfort to know that someone is by. But when I am dead, it is my wish that you leave me unburied to lie." Burke died the following day. On the 19th September 1861, a rescue party arrived to find Burke's body still clutching his rusting gunfired pistol. They wrapped his body in the Union Jack flag and buried him here. Months later, a retrieval party exhumed the bodies of Burke and Wills and returned them to Melbourne, where they were honoured by a state funeral on the 21st of January 1863. Now, by the 1870s, this little township of Innamincka was a busy junction between two stock routes, the Stresleggy track to Maree and the Boar track to Broken Hill. A police camp was set up in 1882, and by 1886 there was a general store and hotel. In its early days, Innamincka thrived. It had a hotel, police station, store, boarding house, blacksmith shop, a couple of houses and a public school. By 1900 it was an important customs depot where state taxes were collected from drovers moving cattle across the border from Queensland to South Australia. That's a museum in there. Apparently Innamincka was originally named Hopetown in 1890. But on the 28th of February 1892 they renamed it Innamincka. And Charles Sturt discovered Cooper Creek about 15 miles to the east of this place on October 1845. And that was on his attempt to reach the centre of Australia. His work prompted further exploration, resulting in the pastoral occupation of this locality in Western Queensland. Looks like this fellow's been stuck in here quite a while. The Australian Inland Mission nursing home was built in 1920, and the Royal Flying Doctor base was established in 1928. The pub did a roaring trade, but customers were infrequent. Tap kegs could stand around for weeks on end, so the pub began selling bottled beer. By the early 1950s, the pub had a famous bottle dump. It was over 2 metres high and hundreds of metres long. Nice little emu there. A big area in the side here, in the dining hall in the pub. Nice little tank there. How's that for a bit of woodwork, a bit of carpentry? Would have been nice to have a look around at some of these places, but all the roads are closed from a cyclone a long time ago. A couple of real horses out there. Innamincka Cemetery, Birdsville. There's a lot of graves here, but I can't see too many. Accidentally drowned. Driver must have been the grader driver. Head stockman of Durham Downs accidentally killed at a race meeting, November the 26th, 1931. It's always tragic when the young dies, 5 years old. Heading through the back of town, not very big places in Innamincka. You've got to expect that out in the middle of nowhere. We're heading down to Lyndhurst on the Strathlecky track.
Southwood Ho!
And just like that, we're back off the Aussie tar. That's the way I like it. We're headed to Lyndhurst. There's a lot of oil wells around here. Petroleum and gas. Must be getting close to the Moomba Gas Field. There's an oil donkey over there pumping some oil.
Can I drive down there? Is there any signs to say no access?
like he is doing a good job. Way back in 1959, the first well was drilled in the Cooper Basin, Innamincka number 1. Although they didn't find enough hydrocarbons, the results were enough of an incentive to continue the exploration program. The first commercial discovery of gas was made at Gijalpa number 2 in 1963, and in 1966 more gas was found when Moomba number 1 was drilled. The discoveries provided sufficient reserves to enable Santos to sign a sales contract with the South Australian Gas Company. In 1968, the construction of the Moomba Gas Processing Facility and a pipeline to Adelaide began, with the supply of gas to South Australia commencing in 1969. With more reserves, negotiations commenced with the Australian Gas Light Company to provide New South Wales with natural gas, and supply commenced in September 1976. The wells, which can be drilled up to 10,000 feet deep, are connected to satellite stations where the initial treatment occurs. Then it's pumped in high pressure lines to the main plant at Moomba. The primary purpose of the plant at Moomba is to remove water and other impurities from the oil and gas. Ethane is also separated from the product stream and processed in accordance with the very stringent customer product specifications. Natural gas processed at Moomba is distributed via pipeline to customers in South Australia, New South Wales, ACT and Victoria for domestic and industrial use, including the generation of electricity. Balls everywhere out here, this is just a small section of them. To the left here to head out to Cameron Corner.
One fly in here. I reckon I've killed it 10 times, but it keeps coming back.
Had a lot of rain here in a short time. All the roads been washed away in places. Bollard's Lagoon cattle yards. That's a big cattle trough. Must be a metre across. Big barn owl in the centre of the screen. Two of them there. A few swallow nests in there. I wonder if that's his nest up there.
Are they milking cows?
Danger. Danger, cattle over the hill.
Right. I wonder what would be their neck of time bore.
Yeah, no. Big lake here too.
Please go camping. I don't know what you do. You have to bloody...
Danger. If I wander down this cattle track before dark and have a look, see if I can get a lake view here. Lucky to find this little track off the side of the road. Actually some big trees down there. Might go for a wander and have a look. And there's got to be a bottle top in the middle of nowhere. Looks like the cleared areas of meat ant nests. I'm not sure what sort of trees these are. Could be a wattle. Quite tall though. Could be a gum too. Give you some idea how big these trees are. Some really good tucker here for the cattle. Not a lot of tucker around, but it's what it is. It's very highly nutritious. That's why all the cattle are in really good nick. There's our camp set up over there for the night. Got the fire going. Couldn't believe it, there's a bloody frog out here in the middle of the desert. There he is again. What you doing out here, mate? What you doing? Oh, ripper. Leave you be, okay?